beautiful jellyfish. It's Tracy.
And Justin.
Oh, wait, I didn't set the stopwatch. Alright, doing real well.
Nice. That's great. Fantastic.
Alright, so we're going to be doing a deck tech for you guys on Justin's Grixis Delver deck in Modern.
Grixis Delver. Yeah, definitely not your typical deck. A little bit less controlly with the Grixis, but more aggro and pretty good mid-range.
Yeah, it's a good aggressive deck, and, you know, the deck's pretty okay. Justin's answer to actually everything is, you know, this deck is good, but you know what it could be better with? Just Delver. He really likes Delver a lot.
Just from Delver.
So,
yeah, makes sense. Good,
yeah.
You know, good cards are run in multiple formats. Bad cards are not run in multiple formats. And I mean, with Delver really having a popular theme in Legacy and also Pauper, I gotta try it out in Modern, you know?
Yes, dear. We're gonna start with the mana base because, yeah, mana base is usually really boring, and I like to start with boring stuff first. So the deck runs 3 islands, 1 swamp, and 1 mountain. How does that work for you?
You know, it really goes very well coinciding with also the other part of the mana base, which is 8 shocks, 8 fetches, which would be 4 Bloodstained Mire and 4 Polluted Delta, 3 Steam Vents, 1 Blood Crypt, 1 Watery Grave, and then also 1 of Urborg.
That card's good.
It makes it really easy to go ahead and fetch for a basic island, or if you need to, a shockland and a steam vents, which is what the majority of the shocklands are. And also, if you really need that black, you just hope for an Urborg, or you fetch up that swamp, and you've got a lot of black in your life.
Yeah, we were actually talking about Tarns before this, because I noticed that Justin didn't have any Tarns. They're also $85, so, you know. It's funny, is I thought after Twin got banned, it would totally drop in price, and then it didn't drop in price, and I was like, okay.
No.
But, you know, honestly, we were talking about it with both of our Grixis decks, and we were saying how we were a lot of times, like, oh, this could have been a Tarn, but it's okay that it's not, because you can just get one of your other lands. You know, a lot of people think three color decks are hard with their mana base. I don't know, I think it depends. I feel like it's also easier because you don't run specialty lands, like you don't run Ghost Quarters, you don't run Creeping Tar Pits, you know, all those other, like, lands.
You know, it is a little bit painful to run the lands in Grixis this way, but, you know, I've never found myself saying, man, I really wish I had a Tarn as opposed to a Bloodstained Mire or a, you know, a Polluted Delta.
Exactly, absolutely. So. But yeah, I really like the one of Urborg too. I remember when I originally had Grixis, I actually had an Urborg in there, and then I took it out because that was when Eldrazi was taking over, and a lot of people were running that black, either mono black list or that black white list when they were running Urborg, and it was gross. So yeah, I decided not to do that and not to give them free stuff.
Yeah, this deck usually folded to that deck, so it was not really a problem.
You basically
it was,
just
well, I guess I'll lose
like,
here. So
my cards. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, cool.
But it is only running 18 lands, actually, which is kind of a big point because you do want to flip your Delver as quickly as possible, as often as possible. And hitting land drops late in the game, not really the best thing to do on this deck. This deck's got a really low CMC, so it really kind of plays off of having, you know, 3 or less most of the time.
Yeah, basically. And you'll even notice in, like, sideboard and things, too, you don't have things that are 4 or 5 mana. Like, some people were like, oh, why aren't you running this in your sideboard? And you're like, because getting to 5 mana is really hard. Like, you had Keranos in your sideboard at 1.2. That card's a house, and that card's well, you don't have Keranos in your thing anymore. Yeah, not anymore. But it's so hard to get to 5 mana in this deck, and that's okay, because it's trying to do other things, basically.
Yeah, and dead cards in your hand are typically not really what's useful against a lot of decks nowadays.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay, cool. So that was it for lands. I guess we'll start. Where do you want to start?
Let's start here with the creature base.
Okay.
So the creature base really comes up with 4 Delver of Secrets. You know, the keynote card of the deck. 2 Young Pyromancer and 4 Snapcaster Mage. It also runs 2 Tasigur, the Golden Fang, and 1 Gurmag Angler. Now
should be Toonstalker.
You see, I've heard this before. But managing to put out a Tasigur and a Gurmag Angler in the same turn is actually more backbreaking than putting out a singleton 5/5 flyer with Elf.
You've gotten to cast Gurmag and Tasigur in the same turn. That's nuts! Oh my gosh, please tell me they died.
Visions. No, it was great. It was fantastic.
They died afterwards, right?
No, they didn't. I killed the opponent.
No, that's what I'm saying is they died.
The opponent died. Yeah, no, they survived. So.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Really good.
That's nuts.
But, you know, again, with Delver, it's really about having a critical mass of spells, which is what the deck mostly is. And, you know, things that go really well with critical mass of spells are Young Pyromancer, being able to make a token every time you can go ahead and play instant sorcery.
Nuts. I actually thought of you. I was watching some Magic the other day, and I was watching this was like in 2015, so it was like earlier in Modern. But there was this young Pyromancer deck, and it was sweet. The opponents like kill your young Pyromancer, and they were like attack scene and probe in response. I was like, yo, that's sweet. It was savage. Yeah. But yeah, young Pyromancer I think is just one of like my favorite Magic cards because it's just so sweet. It's like every single time you cast something, you make a dude.
Absolutely, and it's even better when you have Snapcaster Mage, because all the things you cast from your graveyard still trigger the young Pyromancer. So if you do spend a singleton mana on, let's say, a Lightning Bolt for their 1/1 or their 0/1 Noble Hierarch, let's say, sure, no problem. You can always get it back with Snapcaster Mage and trigger it again.
Yeah, that's
really
super
important.
sweet. I think that's really good. Like Snapcaster and Young Pyromancer definitely have really good synergy in the deck too.
Really do.
Yeah, I don't know if there's too much to say about Snapcaster Mage because it's a really good card.
It's super,
and it does
super
everything.
good.
Do you know, like, the text on this says everything?
It does.
When Snapcaster Mage, everything!
When Snapcaster Mage, everything. Yes. Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm a huge fan of that Magic card, if you can't tell.
Other than that, I mean, we have 6 counter spells in the deck. 2 Remands, really good tempo play. Really plays into being able to go ahead and Delver.
Remand is nuts. You were just telling me that you remanded and drew Blood Moon, which was insane. It ended up hurting you, but that's okay because you drew Blood Moon like a savage. But
this isn't Moonproof.
I actually found that remand, it's growing on me a lot because I find that a lot of times you remand your own spells. Like, I was playing against, I think I talked about this in a video, but I was playing against Spencer, actually, who's on Grixis Control. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna counter your Ancestral Visions when it enters. And I overwhelming denial it so it couldn't be countered, and he's like, I guess I'll remand my Ancestral Visions. And it's like, it's not really a good card because it has multi-purpose. Like, a lot of people think that you can only use it for your opponent's stuff, but a lot of times you do remand your own stuff, especially if you're in a counter war and you're like, I want my remand back.
Or if you're an idiot and you use Culligan's Command naming the wrong options. That's the best. I cast Culligan's Command, was like, yeah, shatter your artifact and return my Delver, not realizing he was a 2, so I was like, wait a second, let's just go ahead and remand that back in hand. Try it again. Yeah, really good.
Yeah.
So.
And it draws you a card, and it's counter target anything. Really good with hand disruption spells, which you're not running, so that point was awkward. Never.
But that's okay.
That's okay. That's okay. Remand is really good with hand disruption. Cool.
Other than that, Spell Snare, 2 Spell Snares, really good against Tarmogoyf, really good against a couple of things. One of the best plays, actually, tempo-wise, is Spell Snaring a Sakura Tribe Elder for Escape Shift.
Yo!
Yeah, they're not expecting it. They're expecting to get to 1 extra mana. They look at it like, why would you keep that in? Because that's all it hits. But, if it hits, it's devastating.
Yeah, because the deck can't, a lot of decks just can't even deal with Sakura Tribe Elder to get them that 1 extra mana because they kill it, they sack in response, they don't even care.
Right.
So, yeah.
So. Other than that, we've got the removal suite being 4 Lightning Bolt, 2 Terminate, 2 Gulligan's Command, 1 Murderous Cut, as it turns out, and 1 Electrolyze.
It's not Murderous Cut, it's Tajo Asensio. It's in Italian.
Got it, Italian. Couldn't remember the name of the card when I cast it the first time. That was really awkward for my opponent and I, but we figured it out. I think we did okay. Terminate's really good for getting around big threats. The only way to deal with Elesh Norn if it comes down, Elesh Norn ruins this deck's stay pretty hard. You do have the Murderous Cut if you can get enough things into the graveyard.
Yeah.
Electrolyze is there for specifically, token decks. Lingering Souls really shuts down this deck as well without the sideboard. And then other than that, we run a ton of cantrips. We run 4 Serum Visions, 4 Gitaxian Probes, and 4 Thought Scour. Thought Scour with the added benefit of putting things into your graveyard so you can cast those Tassigurs early. Turn 2 Tassigur usually is very hard for people to come back from.
Yep. I've done it before. It's nuts. It's so sweet because they're totally not expecting it. They're like, you're probably just gonna cast Serum Visions, and then you're like, Tassigur. Oh, it's so cool. I can't say enough good things about Culligan's Command. That card's nuts. Card's super great in this deck.
Best card in Grixis.
Yeah, absolutely. And Terminate's super awesome. I'm actually surprised you're only doing 2. I did 3 in my list, and it's so good. It just kills everything, like the stuff that you can't kill, or even the stuff like that you're like you don't want a Lightning Bolt, like a Lingering Souls token. You're just like, well, you don't really want to terminate a Lingering Souls token. That's
better
really
than Lightning
awful,
Bolt.
But,
Lightning Bolt on the face.
You're not wrong. So. You're not wrong. I love the one of Murderous Cut. I've always liked. I don't usually like more than one because I feel like it's too awkward. A lot of times you can't cast it, but one of is super good.
Yeah.
Thought Scour is nuts.
It really is.
It's
They're really
so good.
Putting things into your graveyard super early is really good. It's almost like Affinity, except putting it onto the board, you're putting it into your graveyard. So with Thought Scour, with Gitaxian Probe, with Serum Visions, with the fetch lands, it just feels Tasigur and Gurmag Angler to the point where they're not expecting you to go ahead and turn 2, turn 3, Tasigur, Gurmag Angler, whatever it is, and also have a Delver Run.
Yeah. So. Or also your, it feeds your Culligan's commands too, which is super awesome. So you put things in your graveyard and then you can, potentially get them back with Culligan's command. Super awesome.
Very good, very good.
I've always really liked that, and as well with Snapcaster Mage. Like I always feel like with Thought Scour, it always synergizes well with Culligan's command, because if you get creatures, you can return them with Culligan's command, or if you get spells, you can snap them back. Super good.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And another reason why I don't run 3 Terminate. I'm really kind of running 6 based on the Snapcaster Mage synergy. So
right.
If I really need it, I can always.
And a lot of times more because you can get Culligan's back with.
It's true.
I just really love Culligan's command. Yeah. Anyone who comes on my channel is like,
good,
I don't stop talking about it because it just does everything. Sweet. Yeah, that's pretty much the deck. It's pretty okay.
Do you want to talk about the sideboard?
We can talk about the sideboard.
Sure.
Sideboard's always really weird because it always changes. It's very meta dependent. It depends on if you're going to a big tournament. Are you playing in your local game store Friday night? What are you doing? So this is what you have for right now, but you said that it's tweaking all the time, and that's just the nature of sideboards, period.
All the time. When I first made this deck, it really came out as, my sideboard's kind of a hot mess. It's just a pile of garbage, and it's evolved over the time. I found that Spellskite, there's one of Spellskite, not really the greatest in a lot of matchups, but still okay. Relic of Progenitus, while it probably should be a Nile Spellbomb, I found has just been okay, kind of getting rid of things in the opponent's graveyard without shutting off my own, unless I absolutely need to, and draw a card. Flash Freeze, really good. Dispel, super good. Yeah,
Flash Freeze is super nuts. It's counter target anything, counter target Tarmogoyf, counter target Blood Moon. Yeah. Wait, it's red or green. Yeah. It does a lot of things. I'm a huge fan. Like, Flash Freeze actually reminds me of Celestial Purge, which I know a lot of people don't like because it only targets black or red. But I'm a huge fan of it because in those matchups, it is nuts. It just shuts a lot of decks out.
It is really a silver bullet for a lot of red and green. Green decks. Especially Burn. This deck has a really hard time with Burn, but it's actually it's pretty decent when you run the Dispel and the Flash Freeze.
I agree. Dispel's nuts.
Other than that, we also have a one of Counter Squall, which is just really a better negate for this deck. The Lose 2 Life really is huge in aggro. I
have that in my sideboard, and it is a nuts counterspell. A lot of people forget about it, especially because it's those weird colors where if you're playing like blue in Modern but you're not playing black, people just forget about it. But if you're playing those colors, it is 100% a great sideboard card. It just, non-creature spell, good in a lot of matchups. Good against the burn matchup.
You're actually the reason I run it. I don't know
really?
If you know that. Yeah, after finding out that you ran it, I was like, you know what, maybe this is a good idea. And I know you're a good Magic player, so. One of Hercule's Recall, the Affinity matchup is pretty hard, but actually pretty. It is. It's hard because we're both wanting to throw everything we can at the opponent as quick as possible. The counterspells really don't do that much.
But your mid-range game is much better than theirs.
That's valid, yes. And if it goes more than a couple of turns, my game is usually better. Yeah. They drop a Cranial Plating turn 5. A lot of times I'll have a Culligan's Command available. Yeah. Or, if they're killing me with their, manlands, maybe I bring in Blood Moon. 3 of Blood Moons are really, really good in this. Not really exactly what you want to be doing a lot of times, but it's actually really good. Yeah. Grixis isn't moonproof, so you can moon yourself, which is really, really bad when you need blue spells. But,
I mean, honestly, though, I think it makes sense that you're running the 3 islands, though, for Blood Moon. I think that's super important. Like, Blood Moon is a card that I think, I've never personally played with Blood Moon before, but I feel like it's a card you need to know how to play around. As yourself, as a person who's playing with the deck, as well as a person when you're playing against it. You need to know kind of, like, both things.
Oh, agreed. Completely.
Yeah. It's not just, I slam turn 3 Blood Moon, or turn 2 Blood Moon with the Simian Spirit Guide. Yo, that's nuts. There's this kid at our local game store who's playing that deck. It's not Blue Moon. What is it called?
Scred Red?
Scred Red, yeah. This deck's sweet. It runs the Simian Spirit Guide, so it gets Blood Moon off on turn 2. John lost to it so badly, and I was watching it, and I was like, no, not John. I think it was Sam, actually. I don't know. Someone was lost against it, and I was like, oh, I'm sorry, dear.
It's not good to come back from. Not easy to come back from.
Not easy to come back from. Okay.
Other than that, I run one Izzet Staticaster for the aforementioned Lingering Souls and tokens. Really hurts elves early on, but not for the later game. Yeah. Things that do hurt elves, though, Anger of the Gods. Got 2 of them in here.
nuts.
A
This card is
great,
nuts. I
fantastic.
actually originally was thinking about running, what is that Converge card? Radiant Flames?
Yes.
But Anger is so much better because
Anger's
it's
better.
Exile. You were like playing against that that new deck that came out. What is the deck? The Malira Infinite Combo, the Coco deck or whatever?
Yeah.
You can exile their pieces of their combo, you can exile their whatever, if they don't have Viscera out, obviously,
Sure,
you know, it's super,
sure.
super good.
Yeah. Yes.
Or Snapcaster Mage, if you're playing against the mirror and you're like, well, exile your Snapcaster Mage. It may hurt you a little bit, but you know, the good thing about Snapcaster Mage is that it's a 2-1, so if you have Anger in your hand, you know you want to get it off, you will block with Snapcaster Mage, you have to go to your graveyard instead and then cast Anger of the Gods. I love doing that, that's
Sure.
super fun.
It's also if the creature would die this turn, if I remember, yeah. If a creature would die
Dealt.
this turn, so it doesn't actually, yeah. If it's dealt damage, it would die this
okay.
turn. So it doesn't actually have to die to Anger the Gods. If you also have some kind of other removal spell in your hand, either another Lightning Bolt, a
Yeah.
Dreadbore, one of Dreadbore in the sideboard, Terminate, whatever it may be, you can always kind of finagle a way to go ahead and get that really big Goyf into the graveyard and
Yeah.
eventually exile it from that.
That's
So,
awesome. Yeah, I like that. And the one at Dreadboard is actually really interesting. I've seen a lot of Jund players actually put that in their sideboard recently. It's super good. It's super good against Karn, Ugin, Nihiri.
Fury.
I can't think of many other planeswalkers. Maybe
Lily.
Ashiok,
Liliana,
Lily,
yeah.
Liliana, yeah. I don't know if you care that much about Lily. I feel like sometimes she helps you. Depends on.
Lily's pretty bad.
Oh, she's
actually,
bad, okay,
yeah.
never
With the neg 2 edict, and then if
Yeah.
you don't get that off, if you don't have anything that they have to make you sacrifice, they just plus her into Oblivion and then use her ult and you lose.
If they get her ult off, that's awful because you run so few lands that it's
You do,
like, you know,
yeah.
you're like, cool, get one land back. That sucks, yeah.
If they split my lands, it's over.
Yeah, basically. Liliana ult is devastating for a lot of people, basically.
And that's kind of why I run the next card in my sideboard, which is 2 of Slaughter Games.
It's nuts.
It is really good. Yes, it's 4 mana, which is usually hard for me to cast, but it is a silver bullet for a lot of decks. If you go ahead and name Viscera Seer when they don't have Viscera Seer on the board, it can shut off the Absent combo, or Malira combo, sorry. If you name Scape Shift with Scape Shift,
Yeah.
or Bring the Light with Scape Shift.
And they don't have a
okay.
counter spell or whatever, it's super
Exactly.
good.
Well, it can't be countered. That's why Slaughter Games is so
Oh,
good.
yeah, dude, this card's nuts.
They can't be countered by just about anything. You can do it with Tron because it's any card that's non-land.
Non-land. So here's the deal with Slaughter Games. Slaughter Games versus Surgical Extraction. Both cards are really nuts. Surgical Extraction is really good for those aggressive strategies who are trying to win really early game, but you can go in the mid-range game. You can go in the mid-range game, and you're not complaining, so your mid-range is really good. Slaughter Games is just nuts. It's good for so many matchups. I'm a huge fan of it. I had it in my sideboard for a little bit too, and I was a huge fan of it. Like, if you play that against Scape Shift, how do they win?
Excuse me, hi
They
Justin, how are you?
Hi, very well, thank you.
Good. What time are you guys leaving here?
Probably soon.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we'll be locked up because we're gonna go drop the car off. now,
Okay,
up
sounds
there.
good.
And then,
I didn't know you were dropping the car off. Okay.
yeah,
Cool.
Where are you dropping the car off?
Patterson.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
and that's it.
Alright,
Okay.
back to your regularly
Thank you.
scheduled programming. Bye. Sorry about that. I got into a small car accident a little bit ago. I'm fine. Everything's fine. It just car got a little, beat up. Anyways, that's not the
Anyway.
point. Slaughter Games is a
Slaughter
really good
Games.
magic card. Yeah.
You know, it can't hit any kind of land card, which Surgical Extraction can. If they fetch, you can go ahead and take
Yeah.
their fetches out of their deck. But Slaughter Games is really, really good based on the
Yeah.
fact that it's any number of the cards, not necessarily all of the cards. And one of the reasons why this is okay is because found a friend playing a janky deck, a Hedron alignment deck. With the 3 mana, you have to have one on the field, in your hand, in exile, and also Slaughter Games really turns that off by only selecting 3 of them. So they won't draw enough to be able to use the combo, but they will have more in their deck that'll allow them to get blank cards in their deck. So if you name only 1, you grab 1,
That's really
they can still go
interesting.
off. But if you grab 2, it's over.
That's really interesting. Huh. I didn't know that. No one plays that deck, so
Nobody
it's
plays that
totally
deck.
fine. Yeah, I do like it. Like I would. It's interesting though because your Tron matchup is really bad.
It's really 50-55-ish.
I was gonna say, because you could do surgical too, and if you're bored, if you're really concerned. Because Blood Moon is super good, but here's the deal about Blood Moon is, like, it's not like a lose for Tron. Like, a lot of people think that if you slam Blood Moon against Tron, they just lose. That's not true. Sometimes they're like, I hardcast Ugin, and you're like, sometimes they just get to 7 lands. And sometimes they're a savage, like our friend Mikey, who... he's the most savage person that I've ever seen pilot Tron in my existence. Like,
he trumps
over all professional Tron players. Like, he's that nuts at this deck.
So, yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Otherwise, I think this deck is really good. Some of the tips for this deck would really be... play this if you're looking for something a little bit more aggressive, but something that still interacts. When I was a big Affinity player for the longest time, but the deck doesn't really interact a lot, especially game one.
Galvanic Blast.
And that's usually about it. Yeah. This deck has a couple of counters. It's got kind of things that you can do. You're always progressing your board state forward, and you actually care about what the opponent's doing more so than other decks. The other thing is, make sure if you're playing this deck to try to flip your Delver as soon as possible.
Yeah.
If you take a mulligan, this deck really mulligans to 6 very, very well. Just based on the fact that the one scry, if you're on the draw, you can actually, if you're on the play, you can actually flip your Delver the first turn guaranteed.
That's
which
crazy.
is something that a lot of decks really can't do. They can't have a 3-2 on turn 2.
A turn 2 flyer.
With potentially haste, I guess. So,
that's nuts.
It's a situation where, that's a really good move, is to, take a couple of mulligans, see how the deck plays out. And also, it kind of does a little bit of everything. So you don't just lose to a lot of things. Gaining infinite life may end you. But, against that, other than that, you're good to go.
You want to know what my favorite thing, what I really want to do against the Infinite Life decks? I want to play Sorin Markov. Do you know what that card does? That card's nuts. That card's like, your opponent's life becomes 10.
Yeah.
That card's sweet. Or that Sphinx that's...
And it survives it, too. It's not like it's not like it's his altar. It's his, like Gideon, puts out the token, and it's like, or the emblem, and it's like, oh, well, he's gone. No, this survives it.
Yeah,
so,
it's crazy.
That's really good.
Card's nuts. This deck's pretty cool. I like it. I think that, with what you're saying, how it does a bunch of different things, I definitely agree with that, because it's it's trying to stop your opponent, but, at the same time, sometimes your Devil just flies right over their creatures, and they're Tarmogoyf, and you just don't even care. And the deck's got a nice amount of counter spells, and then other disruption spells that are not counter spells, like removal. Lightning Bolt's just good all the time, because it just gets rid of anything a lot of times, or it just does damage to their face. And it runs a lot of good cards.
You're really playing on the opponent's turn a lot, which kind of aggravates them sometimes. But you're not doing too much on your turn unless it's playing the creature. So
yeah, exactly. And it runs Culligan's Command, so come on, how could it be bad?
Full circle. Okay, thanks.
All right, that's it. That's all I got.
Yeah, I think that's good.
No, cool, sounds good. The deck will be listed down below. I'm gonna put pictures up, but it may be a little bit hard because we talked really fast, and that's okay. That's okay. Don't worry about it. We talked really fast. That's all right. But yeah, deck will be listed down below.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime. How does it feel to be on MTG Goddess's video
fantastic,
again? Yeah,
fantastic, cool. Always.
We gotta do another video soon. I don't know what, but we'll figure it out.
I got a couple ideas.
A couple ideas. No, it's gotta be like now. Now. All right. Think of something now. Okay.